Older workers in America are being treated horribly by the job market and their employers right now. For instance, in this video, you're going to see cases of older Americans telling their stories of when they get laid off and they try to apply for another job after they turn 50. They get told, oh, this job doesn't suit you, just an entry-level job. But then when they try to apply for a higher level position, they're told that they're no longer needed. But what I think the real reason they're not needed is due to their age, because the companies deem them to have too much liability. Keep watching this video and let me know what you guys think about it at the end.
So I got laid off a few weeks ago. In my early 50s. I'm looking for a new job. That wasn't supposed to happen. That was not part of my plan, universe. But everything happens for a reason, right? So I figured I would share this journey with you. So follow along and watch me try and find a job.
Getting laid off at 43 wasn't the worst part, not even close. Everyone thinks the hard part is the moment they tell you in that 15-minute scripted Zoom call, the severance conversation, the we're going in a different direction, but that's not it. The worst part came about 2 weeks later. I had already started telling people, I had already cried. I had already done the whole, this is a blessing thing on the phone with my mama. And then I'll tell you what it was in part 2, but if you've been through it, you already know.
I really do think, this is like a known fact. Society has like a very warped perception of age and how a woman is supposed to look, especially Gen Z. Because I'll meet people, by the way, I'm 24 years old, and I'll meet people and they'll be like, oh, I didn't think you were 24. I thought you were like 20. So what is a 24-year-old supposed to look like? Am I supposed to be like gray-haired, 5 kids? Like, why do people have in their minds that, like, once you hit, like, your mid-20s, which I'm not even in my mid-20s yet, but once you hit your mid-20s, like, you're some, like, washed-up old fart. Like, what the fuck?
So I just got off the phone with a woman talking about how she got let go at 60 years old. And, yeah, I'm still a little emotional from talking to her, but I was so inspired by our discussion and my ideas to give her some hope and some tips on how to make this a comeback versus a setback. I decided to write a blog post about it, and you can go check out the blog post that I wrote on the Her Retirement website. Just go to the blog tab and check it out, and then comment or, comment below if you've had this happen to you or someone you know. And, I always say life is about mindset, right? We can decide if it's a setback or if it's going to be a comeback. So I prefer a comeback. Here's to getting her done.
I got laid off my corporate job. Yep. I've been working here 3 years and, things happen. While unpacking on my desk, I want to show you all some things that I've gotten from my coworkers in my 3 years working here that I really like. First thing, one of the interns made this little origami box and she put in this little chick. How cute is that? She made this. Isn't that adorable? Next thing are these little turtles. And it's like a family of them. I came to my desk one day and my coworker, I don't even know really who left these. These were just all on my desk. How cute. I'm gonna put them in here since I'm packing my desk up. We should name them. Next thing are these little pins. My coworker Allison made these. They're so cute. And my favorite, Count It All Joy. One of my old coworkers, before she left the company, she came over to my desk and she gave me this, and I have had this for 2 years on my desk, because no matter what happens, I'm gonna count it all joy. Amen. Amen. And speaking of that, this wasn't a gift. I brought this, but I keep this here on my desk, like my little Bible, and then I have this little Give It to God box on my desk. if I'm at work and I feel like I need to give it to God, I'm gonna get my little notebook and my pencil and I'll write something down and put it back in this box and I go about my day, okay? I almost forgot, last thing, they gave me a card, a mini thanks goodbye card, and people signed it. So sweet. We are wrapping up a really good chapter in my life. I am excited. I'm excited for what's to come next, even though I'm a little sad.
This Simone Zone just posted something about a lot of us in the community being over 40 that have lost their jobs. And I wanted to piggyback. I will never say that again. I'm just joking. It is a corporate lingo that I hope to never have to say again. But I just wanted to comment on top of what she posted about, yes, there are so many of us that have been laid off that are going through this. And a lot of people are saying it's ageism, it's the market, who knows exactly what it is. But why are so many of us over 40 that have been laid off? Now, I know that it's really hard for those that are in their 20s and 30s to get work as well, but I know a lot of us are getting passed up for work and a lot of us are being laid off. It's really hard to be in the market when you're over 40, 50. I'm 51 looking for a job and I've been passed up over and over again for stupid things, for, working for, as an example, been in the industry, a certain industry for so long and looking at the person's LinkedIn who was hiring me. And I have way more experience than this young guy has and chose to go with somebody younger. I'm older, whatever, but I feel like I have a lot more to offer, more wisdom, and just getting passed up sucks. And I know a lot of us are going through this. And yes, there is a community here, like this Simone Zone says, where we are all here to help each other. And honestly, I've been thinking a lot the last few days how we really need to bring attention and awareness to this and start a movement. Someone left a comment saying that there's like AI or it's Workday will actually, anyone that's over 40, they will completely just disregard their application and their resume. And I'm wondering how they do this because I've only put 10 years of experience on mine when I have over 25 years of experience on my resume, and I don't put my birth date anywhere. So I'm trying to figure out how they are figuring out our age. Any of you that know, at least I don't recall putting my birth date anywhere because I don't fill that out. And I know I'm in California, and again, I've worked with HR. I used to be in management, and I know there's certain things where you can't discriminate, but yet it seems like there is a lot of discrimination against this older age group not being brought into being laid off and not being hired again. I do see that. I know, I see sometimes a lot of the recruiters are in their 20s. So I wish there was something that we can do, and I would love to. I've been thinking about it, and if we just get the word out there that this is actually happening, I mean, maybe it can change. I'm a big believer in thinking that something can be done about this because this is. I mean, we still have a lot of life left, and we have a lot to give to the workforce and the workplace. I would love your input. What do you think that we should do? How do you think we can get more awareness around this besides just being on here and talking about it?
I'm 59 years old. I'm still in the workforce, and I have a message for my fellow Gen Xers who are still in the workforce and want to stay there. And that is, if you do want to stay there, then you need to be and act younger. Do not appear as the old person in the office or in the company, because that is going to put a target on your back. And we all know when there's a target on your back, sooner or later, somebody's going to shoot at it and you're going to lose your job. It's unfortunate. It's sad, but it's the way it is. There's a lot of ageism, and people want to get rid of the old, guard and replace old with younger, less expensive employees. It's just the way it is. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if you have a meeting, whether it's on Zoom or Teams or whatever it is, make sure you have a notepad document on the screen with the talking points that you want to say, with questions to answers you're going to be asked, with relevant data that you may need to know for that meeting. Make sure it's there and it's in front of you, because we all know as you get older, As you get older, senior moments increase in velocity, and you don't want to look like you are, losing, your train of thought all the time. If there's software that you hate, don't understand, don't know how to send an email, whatever it is, don't complain and keep asking people over and over, how do you do this or how do you do that with the software? Google it, look it up, figure it out yourself. Be self-sufficient. Again, you don't want to appear as you're the old dog amongst young dogs, right? It's important. Don't talk about retirement, having to retire, wanting to retire. I can't take it anymore. Or, talk about aches and pains and ailments that you're going through all the time. Dude, I'm telling you, you may want to, you may be compelled to, but don't do it. It will, as I said, put a target on your back, and we don't want that. This is sad, but it's true. And you may have to stay at your job. You may have to, pay for your mortgage, your kids' college tuition, medical bills, whatever it may be. You just can't afford to retire, don't want to retire yet. Take my advice. Don't act older, act younger. Be the person in the office with the vitality, the vigor, and the street smarts, and you will last. Act old, seem old, appear old, and you will not last. That is ageism. That's the way it works. Unfortunately, it's true. We can't avoid it. I want to ask you, do you try to act younger at your job in order to be more relevant and not lose your job? Let me know.
I received a comment yesterday on a post that I made yesterday about being laid off for over a year. And the comment was, you've been laid off over a year. Are you trying not to work? And why can't you go down to your local store and get a job? So I made a post about over a month ago talking about how I was laid off at 50, being at the peak of my career. And thousands of you replied saying you're going through the same thing. Is it ageism? Is it like the market right now? What is going on? And probably a little bit of everything. I know that I've gone to apply for work at entry-level positions as an example to one company. And this has happened several times, but this one particular company said, we just don't think you'd be happy in this position, it being entry level and you're not being challenged. Well, I applied to a director position or a leader position in that same company, and they said, you know what, we're actually hiring internally. We're just hiring outside because of a survey that we're doing. So basically wasting my time. This isn't just one company. This has happened several times to me, working with recruiters, and the recruiters coming back and saying, you know what, they're putting the position on hold. So they're gonna, I don't know. It just ends up being something. I've applied to hundreds of jobs. That's why I've turned to TikTok, so that I can try to make some money here or start a business or do something else, because I'm not just going to sit around, even though I'm still applying to work, doing everything I can. But the comment about going down to your local store, yeah, I've tried that too. So they say you're too overqualified. Again, you're not going to be happy here. I even had someone make a comment saying that they went to Trader Joe's to try to get a job and they were denied because they are overqualified. Our local Costco isn't even hiring. A lot of our places around where I'm living are not hiring. So I don't know. That comment was a little bit, and for all of you that are going through this, thousands of you, let's hang in there. Let's hang tight. Just taking it day by day. And I'm here to support you. And those of you who are in the same position, we all would love to know what you're doing and how we can get through this together.
Imagine working for a company for 25 years and they just walk into your office one day and they lay you off in your 50s. And you have no backup plan. And you obviously have no time to waste, because now you got to figure out what you're going to do. And you have never done anything online, but you find this program online from somebody who was talking about it, somebody who showed up and changed your life and helped you. And now you're a 6-figure earner because you made that choice to learn a new skill and get yourself online and stop trading time for dollars. If you are in that same position, put change in the comments. I'm going to get you the information and I'm going to help you.
People say if you're over 50 and you're unemployed, you may never find a job again. And you know what? I think that rule applies for everybody right now, going from October to the end of the year. I think if you find yourself in a position where you haven't landed a job by October of this year, I think you're going to struggle until February, March of next year. And I hope I'm wrong. winging it based on what I see, obviously, but what I see are companies that are in a holding pattern trying to figure out just what to make of this whole AI thing. Because now studies are coming out saying that companies that have went all in on AI aren't actually seeing the return that they thought they were going to see. And so now they're trying to decide, do I continue to go down deep and play the long game with it, or do I parachute out and go back to the way that I was before? And all the people who aren't in it are now taking a step back saying, wait a minute, maybe we just need to hold tight and not make any decisions until we see what happens to some of these other people. And no matter what route each of those go, it equates to not taking action when it comes to hiring. And so things are fixing to get pretty rough. It doesn't matter what happens within the economy right now. Things are fixing to get even harder for job seekers.
I cannot be the only Nana out there that has lost their job and still needs to fund that retirement. Let me tell you, I went out looking after I lost my job at the age of 54. I'm Jennifer from Tennessee. And yes, I lost my job at, well, actually 53, just days before I turned 54, and was stunned that nobody wanted to hire me. So what I did was I set out to find something, and I took an online course that has taught me how to build an income online. I have made not one business, but two, and make an income each and every week. Hit me up, comment ready if you want to know exactly what I did.
I feel like there's not enough people talking about this. Why are those of us in midlife not talking enough about how hard it is to get a job at this stage in the game? Here's a little backstory. I got laid off from my job in August due to budget cuts. Budget cuts really was, I worked at a nonprofit. It was really because my previous manager, who was about 15 years younger than me, felt threatened by any type of a successful older female. So she systemically went through and fired or laid us all off one by one. I saw it happen for the 2.5 years I was there. Ended up being me in the long run. So I have been unemployed since August of 2024. Now, originally, I was super gung-ho looking for jobs. I was on Indeed, I was on Idealist, I was on LinkedIn, and I would submit resume after resume after resume and had maybe a handful of interviews. One, even a second interview, ghosted. Every single time. Ghosted. Some of them, I would just submit the resume and like 10 seconds later, get an email back saying, thank you, but we've decided to pursue other candidates. Hello, you haven't even met me yet. My sister went through the same thing a couple of years ago. She's 4 years older than me, and it took her 2 years to find a job. And she really felt at the time like it was ageism. She was seeing people with less experience getting hired for these positions and really felt like it was because she was older, even though she had tons of experience and would have been a better fit for the job. And I didn't really think about it all that much because it wasn't happening to me. And now that it's happening to me, I'm like, oh my God. The people who are getting these positions that I'm hiring for are all like 20 years younger than I am. And even though I have more wisdom, more maturity, more supervision and management experience, more nonprofit experience, more life experience, the hiring departments do not really seem to care. That does not seem to matter. They want somebody young, somebody eager, somebody more energetic. I don't flippin' know. But ageism is real, and ageism in the workplace is real. I have now experienced it twice, once with trying to find a job over the last almost year, and once from getting laid off because my 15 years younger than me boss couldn't handle the fact that I was successful at this job and older than her. She felt very threatened. So it just kind of sucks. It just kind of sucks to be a 50-year-old woman looking for a career and really motivated to work in an industry that's impactful, because that's what I've always done. Have you guys experienced ageism in the workplace? I feel like most of us have, and we're not talking about it. Why are we not talking about this? Leave me a comment because I really want to hear from you.
For my ladies in their late 20s, have y'all started experiencing ageism? I have been 27 for not even 3 months, and the amount of ageism that I have experienced is crazy. I've had people talk to me about my 30th birthday. I just turned 27. I've had people tell me I look young for 27. What is a 27-year supposed to look like? Am I supposed to have wrinkles? And a lot of this is rooted in the idea that aging is bad when aging is a gift. Not everyone is privileged to see tomorrow. Not everyone has a privilege to grow old. I personally don't believe you're old till you're like 65. But the shift has just been very interesting to me. And I'm very curious to see how it's going to ramp up, because probably what's going to happen by the time I'm like 28, 29. But let's chit chat. Like, ladies, what are some of y'all experiences?
Another day in corporate America. I woke up this morning to rumors of massive layoffs at my company. I'm 55. I've been in this industry for 27 years. I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do. I'm just waiting to see, is the hammer gonna fall? Is it gonna hit me? I don't know. If you guys are in the same boat, please let me know. Or if you're in the same age range, what do you do when you're too old to start another industry, or too young to retire?
I'm 62 and I've been unemployed for a while now, and honestly, I have no plans to go back to a 9 to 5. And that's because I took the time to learn a simple side hustle that any beginner can do. And let me be clear, it is none of these. I do not recruit anybody. I don't have an upline or a downline. I don't chase after customers. And I started this after my 35-year position was outsourced at 61. An outside company with global employees took over my department. A few months later, I'm noticing employees in the Philippines and India working my accounts. And then a few months after that, I get the HR email asking me if I want to voluntarily separate from the company. And so at 61, here I am applying for companies that weren't looking at my value, they were looking at my age. So I kept getting those HR emails, thank you, but we've gone with somebody else. And we all know what that means when you're over 50. So at this point, I made up my mind, I'm not going back to a 9 to 5. And I remember thinking, if I don't make a move now, my future in 10 years won't be any better. It's going to be worse. So meanwhile, my 63-year-old husband, he's still climbing roofs, right? Because we're out of reach for retirement right now. So I took a chance on a beginner-friendly digital marketing program that had live training, a supportive community of 57,000, and gave me the option to make money online by promoting 10 digital products and make 100% profit while I'm learning the skills. And I could do it from my phone. So this gave me a real way to be able to earn income online and start building toward retirement. And to be able to tell my husband, or I'm getting closer, that he can stop climbing rooftops and retire. And so listen, if you're skeptical, you should be, because I was. There are so many scams out there, it's hard to know who to trust. And so it's important to know what you're doing before you make a decision. So do your research. And if you would like to learn more about the program that I'm following, put the word learn in the comments and I'll send you the details. No pressure, just information.
All right, so I'll give you the lowdown here in just a second. I'm here to pick up my stuff, but a bunch of you asked me to call the company out, and do with it what you will. Do not harass the company, but I will let you know the company. There you go. Located in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. All right, so don't harass the employer, okay? But people asked me to call it out, so I'm calling it out just so that should anybody in the Chippewa Falls area want to work for them, just know that don't give a 2-week notice. But with that said, I'm going to do another video because my channel actually is over 1,000 followers now. Thank you very much for all that, and thank you for all the kind words. But I called it out just so that people know, and I'll do another video because now my link in my bio works for my Etsy business, my e-commerce business, and also I added a Cash App just in case somebody wanted to buy me a cup of coffee or something. But I did add that stuff, and I will do another video all about that, but I had to stop and get gas. But you guys asked me to call it out, so I had at least 1,000 or so people, and I had people message me say, hey, I'm from that area, will you at least let me know who the company is, so that I don't, if I do work there, I just know how they operate. The supervisor's a good guy. I talked to him when I was picking up my stuff, and he was real cordial, real polite. The guy's name's Andy. He's a great supervisor to work for. and it just happened that his hands got tied. It made it into upper management, apparently, whatever the problem was. Again, I even asked him what it was, and he wouldn't tell me. So it wasn't his decision, it was somebody else's decision. It went all the way up into upper management, which would be Amanda in HR, and then also Troy. He's the one that's going to be taking over the company, and he's a millennial, and he's a business administration, or has a master's in business administration or whatever. So his way of thinking is completely different than people on the floor. But I just thought I'd share that with you, and I'm going to get some gas, and then I'll do another video here a little bit later to talk about my Etsy link and the Cash App and all that stuff. All right, you guys have a great day. Peace.
I'm 59 years old. I'm still in the workforce, and I have a message for my fellow Gen Xers who are still in the workforce and want to stay there. And that is, if you do want to stay there, then you need to be and act younger. Do not appear as the old person in the office or in the company, because that is going to put a target on your back. And we all know when there's a target on your back, sooner or later somebody's going to shoot at it and you're going to lose your job. It's unfortunate, it's sad, but it's the way it is. There's a lot of ageism, and people want to get rid of the old, guard and replace old with younger, less expensive employees. It's just the way it is. So what do I mean by that? I mean, if you have a meeting, whether it's on Zoom or Teams or whatever it is, make sure you have a notepad document on the screen with the talking points that you want to say, with questions to answers you're going to be asked, with relevant data that you may need to know for that meeting. Make sure it's there and it's in front of you, because we all know as you get older, senior moments increase in velocity, and you don't want to look like you are, losing, your train of thought all the time. If there's software that you hate, don't understand, don't know how to send an email, whatever it is, don't complain and keep asking people over and over, how do you do this or how do you do that with the software? Google it, look it up, figure it out yourself. Be self-sufficient. Again, you don't want to appear as you're the old dog amongst young dogs, right? It's important. Don't talk about retirement, having to retire, wanting to retire, can't take it anymore, or talk about aches and pains and ailments that you're going through all the time. Dude, I'm telling you, you may want to, you may be compelled to, but don't do it. It will, as I said, put a target on your back, and we don't want that. This is sad, but it's true. And you may have to stay at your job. You may have to, pay for your mortgage, your kids' college tuition, medical bills, whatever it may be. You just can't afford to retire, don't want to retire yet. Take my advice. Don't act older, act younger. Be the person in the office with the vitality, the vigor, and the street smarts, and you will last. Act old, seem old, appear old, and you will not last. That is ageism. That's the way it works. Unfortunately, it's true. We can't avoid it. I want to ask you, do you try to act younger at your job in order to be more relevant and not lose your job? Let me know.
So I just got off the phone with a woman talking about how she got let go at 60 years old. And yeah, I'm still a little emotional from talking to her, but I was so inspired by our discussion and my ideas to give her some hope and some tips on how to make this a comeback versus a setback. I decided to write a blog post about it, and you can go check out the blog post that I wrote on the Her Retirement website. Just go to the blog tab and check it out, and then comment or comment below if you've had this happen to you or someone you know. And I always say life is about mindset, right? We can decide if it's a setback or if it's going to be a comeback. So I prefer a comeback. Here's to getting her done.
After finishing this video, I really feel bad for older workers in this country, because these older Americans have literally dedicated their entire lives building up our country's economy, building up the society. And yet when they turn 50 and when they turn, say, 55, they just get discarded by these companies who's decided that they no longer need their service, because older workers are deemed to have a greater liability of taking more breaks and sick days. Isn't it sad that in that one case in this video, we saw the guy say, as an older worker, you literally have to pretend that you know everything, that you can keep up with everything in terms of technology. and that if you have a question, you can't even ask anyone for help. No, you have to look things up yourself and try to figure it out yourself, or otherwise you face age discrimination or face even getting laid off because you're deemed to be too old and that you're not able to the job and keep up with the technology. And when you get sick and when you get body aches, you're not even supposed to show anything. You're supposed to be super stoic, or at least act like nothing hurts you, in order to not get fired, essentially, for acting out for, being sick, because then companies might deem you of having a greater risk or causing more money. This is absolutely wrong, in my opinion, because again, like I said, these folks have dedicated their lives and they have worked all these years, decades in some cases, for the companies, and they should expect loyalty in return when they get older, that the company should take care of them and spend time training them more if they're not used to certain technologies, and figure out ways to work with them instead of just trying to get rid of them like a piece of garbage after they've used them their entire lives for the benefit and the profit of the companies. Something really needs to change about this, and we need to protect our older workers more, because in my opinion, this is a sign that a country and a society is going through decay, is by how they treat their most vulnerable, treat their most senior members of their society. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, whether you guys are in that age group above 50 or 55 and are experiencing any form of age discrimination or bad experience at work. Share your experience. Thank you.